station. This is Bobo FM.
The views and opinions expressed by the following program and its participants are solely their own opinions and do not represent the opinions of DMS Broadcasting and have no affiliation to the BBC.
At the Health Services Authority, we want to keep you informed about the latest developments that impact your health because your health matters to us. Join us each Friday and Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. as we cover health news, offer advice, and answer your questions on Healthcare Today with HSA.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
All right, welcome to the show. It's Bobo 103.1. Dane hanging out with you, and this show obviously is brought to you weekdays, once a week, all by HSA. All right, so sponsored and brought to you by HSA. We have two guys here. I'm going to have them introduce themselves. They work for HSA. I'm going to find out, how they got into their current field, how long they've been serving with HSA, and if they want to add something in, maybe something that some. Welcome back to Bobo 103.1 FM. If you are just joining us for the first time, we are speaking to some medical Am I recording? Sorry, guys. Things on the radio that nobody knows about them. So let's try you.
Okay, good day to all. My name is David Jayse Wilson. I am the Deputy EMS Manager for the Health Services Authority. I've been with the Health Services Authority now for 19 and a half years. And I find it a privilege to be a part of such a wonderful organization. Not many things that people don't know about me. I'm pretty much an open book. What I can say is I am an action junkie. So I'm one of those guys that loves the adrenaline,
Yeah.
So that's it. That's me pretty much in a nutshell.
You're working the right job.
Yeah, we're working the right job for sure.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm going to find out more on that, the background on just how action-packed, at least what you can tell us.
Yeah.
We'll get some more information on that. All right, on to you.
Yes, sir. I am Michael Blackburn. Hello, everybody. I'm not sure what time it's going to be aired, but good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever.
All the above.
Yeah, all the above. There you go. Again, Michael Blackburn, EMT with EMS department at HSA. I've been doing this now for 9 years, going on 10. So August, God willing, will be 10 years officially, August 15th, doing EMS. Something about me, I love to read. I love listening to audiobooks as well. And love words. So all that, something simple.
That's pretty cool. You said 10 years?
10 years.
And you said how much again?
19 and a half.
19 and
Yeah,
a half.
19 and a half.
You know what I found? A lot of people that come in for HSA, they've been working in the 10-year marks, I find. So you guys actually enjoy your job.
Yeah, we love it.
That's good.
Yeah, we love it. No 2 days are the same. It is a fantastic job or career, and we must say we work for a phenomenal organization. So yeah.
Yeah, you're just not saying that for the check at the end of the month.
Yeah, no.
That's real. That's real.
Honest talk.
I heard the passion, so I was like, that wasn't a check comment. That was like, nah, this is what I like. And I see that you're also the deputy, so you're kind of raising the bar.
Yeah,
so you definitely love your job.
Yeah, we do. We have a wonderful manager, Mr. Stephen Duval, who is the EMS manager for all EMS services for Grand Cayman. And again, just a little bit about this week, kind of why we're on the radio talk show. It's because we're celebrating EMS Week this week. So this is something that is celebrated in North America once a year, and it's celebrated in the month of May. So this year, it's being celebrated from May 18th to May the 25th. So we've already had some things ongoing, and we're going to be having an open house day on Friday. So we would like to encourage any and all persons to please come out and see what it's like, essentially, to be an EMS staff member, whether you want to be an EMT basic, an advanced EMT, or if you want to progress up the chain to be a paramedic.
What's the difference? Because you just said basic, and obviously it seems like there's an elite, and then you go on to be further. So
with at least 3 tiers, so like we like to say. So I am the basic EMT, so it's initial. To be honest, there's a more junior step if you wanted. It's called the EMR, so emergency medical responder.
Correct. Yeah.
So like first aid, simple, really nice first aid.
Oh, wow.
Basic. Then you have a step up from that. Where I'm position I'm in, which is EMT, emergency medical technician, and that comes with some drug ability to give some drugs, for example, a little further more technical know-how, etc. And then from that, you got somebody like Jayse. He's an advanced EMT, so he comes with further knowledge when it comes to the medications and different techniques and etc. and stuff like that. Then from there, the highest tier would be paramedic. And then even within the paramedic tier or field, you have even further specializations you can go into, like flight paramedic, critical care paramedic, all that good stuff. So it's those are the steps essentially. So
I love it. You know, my daughter is heading towards the field of medicine. She wants to do trauma surgery, right?
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
She went and got her EMS license in Chicago.
Okay.
Right? So now she's working for forensic until she go back to school.
Oh.
Okay.
But she really enjoyed EMS. There's a lot of stuff that she saw in Chicago that was just like,
So in Chicago?
yeah.
Oh,
so she
yeah.
got licensed in Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which would have mean that she would have to redo her license because it's up right now. So she would have to redo it in order to work here. Is that correct?
Yeah. So how the licensure normally works? So for us, we follow our Council of Allied Professionals, or CPAM. That's our regulatory body that we have here. And they have stipulated that there are 7 jurisdictions that we recognize here in Cayman. So as an example, you know, the big 3 are going to be the US, Canada, and the UK. Yeah. And then from there, we also have South Africa, we have New Zealand, we have Jamaica, and we also have Australia that is recognized here. Now, there might be some reciprocity, so to speak. So if you come from a country that is not recognized here, however, you can prove to show, hey, this actually meets or exceeds the curriculum for the US, for the UK, for Canada, they can take that into consideration, and then they'll be able to say, listen, yeah, this meets actually the standards, or it does not meet the standards. So those are the 7 jurisdictions that we recognize here. As an example, if your daughter wanted to come and work here in Cayman, she would actually have to just re-challenge her exam as an EMT. And then once she is licensed, once she is credentialed, then she would be able to work here.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So in the US as well, they have state licensure, and then they have a broad umbrella for that encompasses all of North America and actually beyond, which is called the National Registry of EMTs. Yeah. So you can either be state registered, as an example, you can be state registered in Florida, in Texas, in California, or you can be nationally registered EMT, and that covers the entire United States. And for the most part here, our EMTs and most paramedics are licensed via the National Registry of EMT. So we have a broad umbrella of certification.
Yeah. What is, I'm hearing you guys say this, and it just shows so much passion you have. And I see even you, Michael, wanted to jump in at some point to kind of back him up in what he was saying. That's real passion. But what's like, I sit down all the time and I always wonder, why do people get into the jobs they do? Like for me, I was a shy kid growing up. So radio was very awkward for me going back and seeing my high school friends. Yeah. Why is he in this? Mm-hmm. But my why is because I just wanted to learn how to communicate better because I was always shy. What's your why? Why? Because there's doctors, there's nurses, right? There's different fields you guys could have taken, but why?
Care. First of all, care and compassion for people in general, and that definitely takes forefront again amongst anything else. To be honest, you can learn all the know-how and technicalities and stuff, but your ability to care and show compassion for people is foremost. And then from there, like he mentioned, no 2 days are the same. Yeah. The ability to be flexible in your days, not coming into, not knocking anybody or anything, but, coming into your desk job each day, day in and day out, just pushing paper and doing that same thing over and over, sitting down. No, each day come into work, for example, is going to be a new day, a new thing. You know what I mean? The only certainty is that there's going to be uncertainty in the day, to be honest. Yeah. So it's always fresh, always new, different challenges. It's very stimulating, very challenging to have to be on your toes all the time, essentially. Keep moving. And then, again, show that you care and respond appropriately with the care and flexibility. So,
Love that. How about you, Tracy?
Yeah, similar to Mr. Michael. I mean, I, from a very young age, determined that I wanted to be in EMS. For those that have an idea about my past history, I was one of the first junior cadets for the Cayman Islands Fire Service.
Oh, wow.
And you know, shout out to all of our brothers and sisters in the fire service, you know, because they are a very strong foundation for us. But there came a point in time where, you know, when responding to calls and stuff like that, I would always see the ambulances just whizzing by, right? Remember I told you I'm that action junkie, right? I just want to be on the go all the time. So I really noticed like these guys were always on the go, and we would, you know, meet up with them at various different calls, or we would see them maybe after work and stuff like that. And they would have all these wonderful stories, all these wonderful accounts of how they helped individuals, what they did for people. And it really drew me in to say, listen, hey, even though, I love fire, I really want to experience what they're experiencing.
Yeah.
So that's what really drew me into that. And literally from that point until now, it has been just smooth sailing. Yeah, man, smooth sailing.
Yeah, I've seen the ambulance too. I always wanted to join the job when it come from the Eastern District.
Yeah.
In traffic at 5 a.m. in the morning.
That's
That's when I want to become an EMT. That's when I want to do the job. But, you know, good on you guys, man. I have a lot of respect for you guys. I mean, my first encounter with what you guys do is when, unfortunately, a family member of mine was, you know, going through a situation where he stopped breathing.
Okay.
And just watching you guys on the scene at a time, what was done to recoup him, that was a life-changing moment for us, because we could have lost that family member. And it was a very important family member. Just for transparency, it was my brother, right? Okay. So to see that and to see him being brought to life, you have this perspective in your mind for a lot of listeners that may still even believe that only the doctor can help with a situation like that.
Yeah.
Like only a doctor can bring somebody back to life, right?
Yeah.
And to see that, it was like, oh wow, this is, and it goes back to what you said too, Chase. Like, is that wow, this is adrenaline is pumping really hard here.
Oh yeah,
emotions are high, people are crying. You know, my aunt is going crazy.
Yeah,
I'm the person when I get shocked, I stay in a quiet zone.
Yeah,
so I can't physically do anything.
Yeah,
right. And then to see you guys just come in, and it was just all calm. It was like, bro, this guy's not breathing.
Yeah,
why are you not panicking?
Yeah,
like you should be panicking. So this leads me to my next question. What type of calls do you guys usually respond to on a daily basis?
Daily basis, again.
It's different, right?
Different. Every day is different. Yeah. You know, you could have from simple transports. Let's take, you know, simple transports. For example, most recent call had a family who grieving in the midst of the grieving process. We took their grandmother, the eldest lady, mother. From her home, transported her to hospice. Jasmine, that's it. Simple as that. So we went in, professional, show our care, take care of her, package her appropriately, which is put her on our devices, put her on a stretcher, secure her, reassure everybody, drive her safely down to hospice, hand her over appropriately to them, let them handle things. Simple as that.
Oh, wow.
All the way up to
something real bad. As an example, we could have, you know, motor vehicle accidents.
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately, we've encountered quite a few of those. You know, I know that they've been a lot of news, you know, headlines in regards to the amount of motor vehicle accidents, so on and so forth, the dangerous driving and the reckless driving and stuff. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell, as Mr. Michael said. So no 2 days are the same, and we don't know what we're gonna get as we step through the door. It could be a pretty smooth day, and everyone prays for that. But we also know, hey, listen, this could be a pretty rocky day. This could be a pretty rough day, and we are going to be busy as we step through the door.
Yeah.
So,
any illness, any injury at all. Another example just of the more mundane things too. Well, prior to the transport I just mentioned that we did one. We showed up to a house, and we just helped the lady lift her mother off of one chair and put her onto the next.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So simple things like that.
Yeah,
you know,
lift assist
call to, like you say, MVAs, to the transports, to cardiac arrest, to, you know, drownings or near drownings, all this whole gambit. So any illness or injury we deal with. Also, if people just simply need reassurance. We've been to calls before we would just, people are, say, in a panic attack or having anxiety. We just there to talk them through, you know, and just anything that really helps.
As a kid, we always grew up. I don't know why I still believe this, but as a kid, we always grew up saying that when an ambulance is heading down,
I know this is coming.
when an ambulance is heading down and the sirens is not on, or it's on, but there's no sound and they're not speeding, that person is dead. Can you guys put that to rest finally?
Yeah, no.
No. So the thing is, we have a variety of different modes in which we respond and transport patients. So normally when you see an ambulance responding, hot, as we would like to say, or code 3 with lights and sirens, we are trying our best to make safe progress to attend a residence or a call for service.
Yeah.
Now, depending on the person's medical status at the time, we've gone in. If we have done our medical interventions and the person is still a bit unstable, obviously we need to get them to the hospital ASAP. Then we can go ahead, throw on the lights and sirens, and again, transport them to the hospital in the safest possible manner while we are requesting traffic to kind of, pull to the left and stop if you can, just so we can make safe progress through the traffic, right? Because we want to make every second count. There are times when the patient is stable enough. However, we just want to make sure that we're not stopping in traffic or anything like that. You might see the lights on and we're not really utilizing the sirens. That is still showing the public, hey, this ambulance is still engaged in an emergency call.
Yeah.
That's why the lights are on. But at this point in time, we don't really need to push people off the road and all that kind of stuff, using the sirens, using the horns and all those things.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So you hear it now, folks, for the first time, just like me, still at this age and still thinking that it's it's a dead person on their way there. But you guys have a new function that I've been seeing lately, and maybe a lot of people don't quite understand it, right? Now, because of my daughter, she works in the medical field, she was able to explain it to me. But quite recently, we've seen we'll see the ambulance, and we'll see a Tahoe or a truck following behind you guys. What is those calls? What is that for? Because it looks excessive to other people.
It looks full on, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason behind it.
Yes.
Yeah, correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we mentioned during our introduction, we are blessed to work for such a wonderful organization.
Yeah.
And the organization has prioritized, a multitude of different things. And one of those things is for us to be able to respond to emergency calls for service within our community within an appropriate time.
Yeah.
Now, whether that is we try or we aim to get to calls between 5 to 8 minutes. Sometimes, again, depending on where ambulances are located, depending on, the geographic location, that might be a bit longer. But we aim to arrive at, the patient's bedside, so to speak, or at the patient's side within that time frame. Now, the additional resources that you've seen, one is going to be one of our operations supervisors. So he or she, currently it's he, provides clinical supervision in the field. Again, just to make sure we're giving staff members that additional support. Yeah. So he's an additional tool for us. Hey, listen, if one of the ambulances is coming from West Bay and we have a motor vehicle accident on Walker's Road, rather than that person being delayed in a emergency care, he's going to go ahead, respond to that call, provide initial treatment. When the ambulance arrives there, then he can maybe back off a bit and then just provide that additional supervision if that is needed. If not, then he can just return back into service. And again, you would notice that in the eastern districts, we have a rapid response truck, as you said.
Yeah.
Now, one of the reasons why that is strategically placed predominantly in the eastern districts, again, they're out of the way, right? So we don't want there to be an emergency call, especially in the eastern districts, and there is a significant lead time before a medical staff member gets to the patient or the person. So one, we have it as a means of being able to provide a little bit of supervision, a little bit of field oversight. And secondly, as I mentioned, just so that we're able to respond to emergency calls for service within a timely manner, and that persons actually don't have to wait, a significant period of time before an ambulance or a rapid response vehicle gets to them. So that's one of the reasons why we actually utilize those vehicles.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot that goes into this, and sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, right? So I'm glad that HSA has put together a platform like this where you guys can get to educate people. Yeah. So some more questions I have to ask, obviously, but I definitely want to take a quick commercial break soon. We'll take it now, actually, and we'll come back. We'll ask some more detailed questions that you guys want to know. There's questions that we have for them here, but there's also questions that you guys have sent in earlier when you knew that we were going to do this interview. So we'll get to those questions very soon, but keep it locked. Don't forget, this is Bobo 103.1, and we are welcoming the EMST. What is it? EMT?
EMS team.
Yes, they're here joining us this week, and we are asking all the questions that you want to know. Keep it locked. We'll be right back.
The Health Services Authority's new pharmacy is now open at the Smith Road Medical Center. The new location features a large, comfortable waiting area and ticketing system to improve the patient experience. All uncollected prescriptions and refill requests previously submitted will now be available for collection at the Smith Road Pharmacy. Request your refills online at hsa.ky via WhatsApp 925-6534 or call 244-2715. For more information about our pharmacy hours, visit hsa.ky.
And we are back. Welcome to Bobo 103.1. Staying hanging out with you. I have the privilege of, on a weekly basis, interviewing a lot of the staff members at HSA, whether they work in marketing, a doctor, EMT, or just a staff member, maybe in marketing. What do they do on a daily basis, and how much do they enjoy their jobs, and what does it take for you listening right now saying, man, I am on the hunt for a new career path, and I want to know exactly how I can get involved with some of these jobs that I'm hearing for HSA. So, guys, I'm going to have you introduce yourself once more. Just for the new listeners that are tuning in for the first time, we'll start with anyone.
Good day, all. My name is David Jayse Wilson. I am the Deputy EMS Manager for the Cayman Islands Emergency Medical Services.
And hello, everybody. I am Michael Blackburn. I am an EMT, Emergency Medical Technician in EMS Department.
Jayse, Michael, what I want to ask you guys really quick is, obviously, you guys already told me about your passion for your job and just how much you enjoy it. No days is the same. It's always different. Like me, obviously, one of the things I like to do when I go overseas is explore different radio stations, right, and see what makes us different. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people that do their jobs, they do the same thing too. One thing I love about our Caymanians is that we are really good at what we do, and we put a lot of pride into what we do, right? The same thing with Cayman Airways pilots. I do truly believe we have some of the best pilots in the world.
We do.
And in medicine, too, I think we're winning in that area. Yeah. What separates you guys from the rest of the world? Like, you guys perhaps have explored other areas. And I wanted to ask earlier, why not LA? Why not Chicago? Why not Jamaica? Why are you guys not doing this job anywhere else? Besides this being your home, do you guys think you do something completely different than what you see everywhere else?
So I'll just go first on this one, and then Mr. Michael can chime in. So for me, I remember when I started doing this training back in 2006, my first time attending an EMS curriculum was in Miami, Florida.
Okay.
So here in Cayman, in general, we have a wonderful working relationship with Miami-Dade Fire and Rescue Services.
Okay.
Back in the day, they used to provide us with some logistics and manpower, training, etc., etc. So we've done training with Miami-Dade Fire and Rescue. We've also done training with the Broward Sheriff's Office. They're a bit of a unique, bit of a dynamic service where they actually have 3 agencies in one. So they actually have law enforcement, they have medical, and they have fire and rescue. So we did some training with them, and I've actually had the privilege of actually going all the way to Seattle, Washington, and working with some of the sharpest people in the world as it relates to pre-hospital healthcare. So working on ambulances. And while it would be fantastic, while it would be nice for us to work in those environments, there's nothing like working at home. Everything that I've learned, I've always brought it back home, and we've implemented some of the best standards and practices known in our field so that we can, even before, but again, right now it's in accordance with the Deputy Governor's mandate to ensure that we have the best civil service. So we're going away, we're learning all these things just so we can bring it back home to ensure that, hey, the Cayman Islands EMS service is, and we're not being boastful when we say this, we are the best EMS service in the Caribbean.
Wow.
And we mean that, and we work really, really hard to keep these standards.
Yeah, I love that. What about you, Michael?
Yeah, you said aside from, this being home and stuff, truth be told, can't get past that.
Yeah.
You just can't get past the fact that this is home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Any given day, I could buck up on family member or not family member, school friend or not school friend, teacher that I know. For example, yesterday, took care of a teacher that was a former teacher of mine.
Yeah.
So it's that passion, that want, that drive for me anyway. I have no intentions of doing this anywhere else in the world. Unlike Jayse, I'm quite the opposite. Trained here, will remain here, will only do this job, giving back to my community.
Yeah.
Because that is what the part of my compassion, part of my drive is that ability to give back to Caymanian people and the Cayman community at large,
Yeah.
to be honest. Yeah. And I think, honestly, I don't think we should have it any other way. People who, no offense to anybody or anything, but I think that's what we need. We need to continue to foster our community in such a way that we have more persons driven to want to build home, for it to be, as like you said, not only the best in the Caribbean, but compared to any other jurisdiction with our capabilities.
Yeah, I love that. And then for those that when I'm looking at you guys and listening to your personalities, you're just generally just caring people. So you guys are the ones that would go above and beyond for somebody in your life.
Yeah.
And you kind of hope that they would do the same for you, but that's your personality, right? So besides obviously taking the right exams and making sure that you're prepared in order to do the job, what are some of the personalities that you need to have in order to do this job? Like, who do you have to be to survive in this job? Because I wouldn't see a selfish person surviving very long in this job.
Agreed.
Yeah. So that individual, we would want someone to be, as Michael just said, caring. I mean, that's it, right? You have to be a caring individual. You have to be a flexible individual because, again, this job is very dynamic.
Yeah.
As we've said, at the beginning of this. Addition to that, you have to, speaking now from a curriculum standpoint, you must have good grades in mathematics, in English, and in your sciences.
Teachers always said that.
Yeah,
right.
Foundational stuff. Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
how necessary is it?
Right.
Sorry.
So
why do I need maths to drive an ambulance?
So operating the ambulance or driving the ambulance is just one aspect of our job.
Exactly.
So as Michael said, we have different tiers, different scopes of practices. Different levels can actually administer different types of medications.
Yeah.
Different types of medications, you have to be so spot on. We cannot give persons 1 milligram too much of a medication, which is very small, right?
Yeah.
For those of us who know about it. And we have to be careful that we're not giving too little of a medication because it's not going to be as effective, right? So there are times when we have to do medication math, when we have to work certain equations out because of, we're going based on weight-based and stuff like that. So we have to be very careful as it relates to mathematics in our line of work. That does play a key role on a regular basis, especially if we're giving medications to people.
Yeah. Well
said. English, obviously, we know from school, right? We need to have good grammar. We're writing medical charts.
Yeah.
These medical charts, depending on the situation that the patient went through, this might just stay in their medical docket, medical file, and might be evaluated. Or if it's something more serious, this might go to grand court. This might be something that investigators and prosecutors are looking at. Yeah. And obviously, everything needs to be done appropriately. We need to ensure that we're using the correct grammar, the correct English punctuation, and those types of things. And then sciences. I mean, that just kind of says it all, right? You have to be interested in sciences in order to be a part of the medical field. We have to know about anatomy and physiology. Yep. We have to know about the various different body parts. We have to know about the various different body systems, how they work, what they do, how they function.
Yeah, the functionality. It seems like, somebody listening to this right now, like I said, somebody might be exploring, hey, what do I get into? What's my career path? Or maybe they were interested in this already. It sounds pretty scary. Some of the stuff that you just have to know because you may doubt yourself, just things that you just explained just a couple minutes ago. It just sounds like you're always on the edge, right? But obviously you guys are very well trained and you spend a lot of time training people before you put them out. That's why there's so many different stages to get to. I mentioned something as a joke before and I said elite. All right, before you reach there, obviously you have the junior position, you have the positions that you mentioned before. So these are things that in order to obviously build yourself up, you guys agree that you're just not going to put somebody out there because you understand maths, so you understand English.
Correct.
You obviously has to go through the process of getting to know what you're doing. Because this is lives that we're talking about.
Yeah,
here.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So would you guys agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then further to what Jayse was saying with the like you said, having the heart, having the mental capacity and flexibility, personality trait wise, you mentioned that you're a person who would stressful situation kind of go on the quiet side, go into a quiet mode.
Very quiet.
You have to be able to straddle that line between quietude and action. So be a calm person, if I could use that descriptor. So you have to stay calm in a situation and then remember your responsibilities. So be able to think clearly in a given situation and be responsible and act appropriately. So personality trait wise, you have to be personable. So when you go in, you greet people appropriately, introduce yourself appropriately, have manners. We became manners, so of course, have manners, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
have some manners, show respect, and also give clear instruction and then inform in a clear manner. So be able to speak appropriately, be able to communication just in general, and also have, I don't want to say authoritative kind of manner, but a manner of, hey, firm, actionable, or a person who is actionable, who can take action and move and do what's appropriate in the situation. So personality trait wise, you're looking at people capable of doing that things. I'll give you a quick story. I remember 10 years ago, my very first night shift. I had done day shift the prior day. The first night shift was in West Bay. Me and Julian. We responded to an MVA. I'm trying to get too graphic, I know.
Yeah.
MVA, that's motor vehicle accident.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motor vehicle
We
accident.
have a lot of,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had two individuals hit off of a motorcycle by a car. Responding there, my very first night shift, and like I said, everything was absolutely chaos.
Yeah.
Suddenly, I'm looking at this individual, and then I see a ID tag on their person, and I'm like, oh snap, I know this person. And your first thought is, for me in that moment, I froze.
Yeah.
First thought was I froze. And then Julian, my partner, was able to talk me through, remind me what we supposed to be doing, click, 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 click. The following night I was supposed to have night shift. I didn't go into work. I called out sick because I was forced to consider heart. I know I want to be in caring for people in the wider community. But then after seeing such a display of what my work entails, like, yo,
Yeah.
do I really want to be doing this, and can I handle this?
Yeah.
And thankfully, we have a team. We like to say EMS family. So people come together, call me up. Hey, you doing good? Everybody call me up. Enough people call me up and was like, hey, talk me through it and help me think about it. And my own reflections caused me to be, you know what? I actually want to be the person in that moment to help and do what I was supposed to be doing. Because even despite how it looked for me in that moment, we did our job. Julian was able to talk me through and help me get me back to that mode of like, okay, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, responsible to her. And weeks later, saw her again, and she smiled, gave me a hug, thanked me, and that solidified it for me. Like, yeah, definitely want to be doing this work. So,
Yeah, you were a part of why she could get to see you again in that moment. And that's the part that I wanted to ask you guys. We were talking about this off air, so I'm glad that you brought that up, Michael. Yeah. How do you do the job,
right?
Go out and see what you guys see, and go home and be normal with your family?
Yeah.
Or I'm assuming that you guys are normal with your family.
Yeah. Yes. Thankfully. Yes. Thankfully. Well, normally my family, my children would call me crazy because I'm the fun one, right? So making jokes all over. But but normal. Yes. Thankfully. Like I said, we are an EMS family, right? We look out for one another. And just like a family, there's ups and downs and moments, but on a larger scale, when things really come together and it gets really sticky, we're there for one another. People will call, people will check in, people come in, hey, if you need something, just let me know. We act as a family. That's one. Two, we have services at the HSA itself. We can go to people and talk through things, talk therapy. Of course, we can go and sit with any doctor we like and talk them through and get help in a manner, whether that be just talk or a checkup or apply for any kind of break or leave that we need to relieve stress. And then also we always encourage, just as we would encourage anybody, remain. You mentioned before, talking about something that people may not know about us outside of work and stuff like that. But keeping hobbies, keeping healthy, just mentally, physically, emotionally healthy. So that entails all of those things. Personally, for myself, I love to play basketball. I love to read, like I mentioned. I make music. Yeah. I take my days off and I rest. So we practice these things. And those things help us to function normally.
Excellent stuff that you said, that you mentioned, the rest part too.
Yes.
A lot of people don't take time to rest and understand that it affects your mental.
Yeah.
But you got to understand, the reason I'm asking these detailed questions is because this comes with the territory, right?
Yes.
So people are exploring, maybe I want to do this job, but, your safe space is important because you guys, it can be described that what you guys are seeing, you're on the scene. So you guys get to clean up what the doctors get to deal with after, right? but you're on the scene. Some people may go as far as describing it to war.
Yeah.
And we know what happens to soldiers when they come back home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you described your safe space, Michael,
Yeah.
that's music, of course, your kids,
Yeah.
family, reading, exercise, whatever that is for you. You found your safe space. What is your chase? Like, what do you do to say, I got to get this out of my mind because if I keep it there.
Yeah. So the same. So maybe not so much on the reading because we do enough of that at
Enough of
work.
it, boy.
We do enough of that at work. But all fun and jokes aside, similar point, family.
Yeah.
There are times when you literally just go home and you sit there with your loved one, with the wife, and you're like, you know what? And we just talking, we just cracking some jokes. With my kids, similar thing. My mom literally is like the biggest comedian in our family. So there are many times when, we'll all sit down around the dining room table together as a big group. And my mom, my brother Jeff, and my brother Jordan and I will just talk nothing but pure nonsense, literally nonsense. And it really helps to de-stress. It really helps to get your mind off of, what it is that you might have seen, you might have gone through. Another mechanism that we have within work is that we have access to our own personal counselor that is assigned to a variety of different departments, but especially assigned to the EMS department.
Oh, wow.
So that if we were to have a critical incident, so to speak, where it is out of the norm, or even if it's a normal call, but listen, something just triggered something in your mind, it's now affecting you, you can reach out to this individual, and that's Dr. Yvette Bloomfield, who currently works at the hospital for us. So she's our counselor. And then we also have additional resources within the organization because we have obviously our mental health department in there. We can speak to any one of those mental health professionals. And the thing is, they do it so easy, it's so nice, and they do it, most importantly, confidential.
Yeah.
So there are many times when they actually say, if you were to say, listen, I really need to talk to you, okay, we're not going to do it on campus. Let's meet off campus. Let's meet here. Let's have a coffee. Let's meet somewhere else where literally no one will see you walking into an office.
Yeah.
No one's going to see you walking down this corridor, nothing like that. So we're very happy. These things are done very discreetly. And we also have mechanisms that we can utilize outside of the hospital if we need to. So we have a multitude of different organizations that we can tap into to help with the mental health and the mental wellness of not just EMS, let me just say that, not just EMS, any medical staff member for the HSA, because we take mental health very seriously. And if staff members are feeling down, if they're feeling away, they need an element to de-stress or they just need some time off. Management looks on these things very seriously. And if you need some time off, hey, you need some time off.
Yeah. I love that, guys. And I know I'm selfishly asking a lot of questions that I want to know, and I think the public wants to also find out. But you guys also have some questions here that I want to get past really quick, just so the public can understand these terms too, like pre-hospital care. Can you guys explain what pre-hospital care is and how that's important?
So pre-hospital care essentially just means anything and everything before we get into the hospital. Right. So obviously before we even get to the emergency room. However, we are an extension of the emergency room. Like our clinical head of department is Dr. McLaughlin. She's our clinical HOD, and she's the director of the accident and emergency department. So EMS and A&E work hand in hand. We work the closest, I would say, amongst many of the other departments in the organization. So that's what it refers to in regards to pre-hospital. So we deal with anything and everything outside of the hospital, so to speak, or majority of the things that occur outside of the facility.
Yeah.
And then in hospital, that's where we have like our nurses and doctors that deal with all the other different departments and areas within the hospital.
I love it. All right, man. We're going to come right back. We're going to take a short break. And we've asked the questions and what does it take to obviously work for this wonderful department in HSA. But we got more questions. And obviously we want you in future, because these guys will be back on again at some point, to ask questions, maybe things that we did not ask, to send it to us. All right. Just go to our Instagram page and search Bobo 103.1.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
All right, welcome back to Bobo 103.1 FM. It's Dane hanging out with you, and we are still here hanging out with some of the staff members here at HSA. This is a show that we do on a weekly basis where we get to know the staff of HSA, from medical doctors to obviously nurses, to anyone that works in the admin, and as we are talking to now, EMT, EMS, just different categories of the job that you guys do. I was speaking to Michael and Chase here, and you guys have been doing a wonderful job with just talking about how great your job is. I actually feel like I'm working in the wrong field because when you talk about the family environment that you guys have, we do have a family environment here at Stingray, but it really does seem like a family at HSA, and you guys have shown that by the amount of years that you guys have given them.
Mm-hmm.
And also they've given you back a lot because you've gained a lot of expertise in what you guys now have. Is just a phenomenal role that you guys play for the community here. And with that being said, that's why I wanted to jump into this first question. What are some of the ways that the public can help EMS on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, make it simple and easy.
Get out of the way?
Get out of the way. That's simple.
You answered it for us. There we go.
That's it. Yeah.
You answered it for
But
us.
remember that we are an emergency service.
Yeah.
That's why we have the lights. That's why we have the sirens, right? We have people's lives in our hands, including the public roadway users, right? So our office is on wheels, so therefore we're gonna ask you to politely. We're gonna ask. We're not trying to demand of people to rush out of the way or push anybody out of the way. But we're gonna ask using our lights and sirens. So first and foremost, if you can, pull to the left. So drive on the left, so we pull off to the left on the shoulder and then come to a stop. Right, it'll only be for a few seconds.
Yeah.
So pull over to the left, come to a stop. So that's one of the major ways people can help. Now, mind you, if you find yourself, you say you're on Ethel Tibbetts or Linford Pearson, and you on it's multiple lanes. If you find that you are unable to pull over to the left,
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
you come to a stop. You know what I mean? Gently come to a stop. At least because if I'm driving. As I'm driving, I'm coming up, I'll be using my distance sirens, so sirens that are heard further in distance. And as I get closer and closer to traffic, I'll use shorter and shorter until I'm right up on people, and that. So those are designed to work with the distances to help people realize that, hey, emergency vehicle coming through, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I'll utilize my equipment to notify people that, hey, we're coming through. I'll be coming in the right lane. Most likely, if I can. If I can't, I'll simply come over to the left lane and try to pass traffic. Hopefully, and this is what we encourage people, come to a stop. If you're able to pull over to the left, pull over to the left.
Yeah.
Come to a stop. If you're not, come to a stop where you're at in the lane. We can maneuver around you in that fashion.
Michael spent a few minutes on that one, and I'll tell you, I agree that he had to, because it's simple as pulling over and stopping.
Yes.
But I don't know why the public doesn't get that, because I've seen it. I've seen people just continue to keep going. Is that against the law for some reason? I've heard different misinformation on this. Is that against the law if you do not pull over?
So, I mean, it under traffic law, it is considering obstructing an emergency vehicle. And again, I mean, it's just not courteous, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, just think about it. If that were your family member that the ambulance was responding to, or matter of fact, any emergency vehicle, whether it be ambulance, police, a fire appliance, or fire truck, you would want them to get to your family member, your loved one, in the quickest possible time frame. So let's just show that, that respect, that care, to listen. As Michael said, it's literally just going to be a few seconds, pull off, come to a safe stop, and then just merge back on. Yeah. So under the traffic law, it would be considered, obviously, following an emergency vehicle. That could be considered dangerous driving, right? Yeah. It all depends on which police officer you get on the day. But it could be considered dangerous driving because, again, normal vehicles aren't equipped with sirens, emergency devices where you can actually safely notify the public and tell them, hey, pull to the side. Many times we've had it where people, again, when we're in traffic and we're coming down, we don't want people to tailgate or follow the ambulance.
Yeah.
Because, again, that's dangerous as well. Persons might literally just pull off and then they pull right back in and they have no idea that someone's actually tailgating or following the ambulance. That's why that's not a standard practice. We do not encourage persons to tailgate the ambulance at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I love what you said before too, Jayce, about just that could be your family member. So
Yeah.
just show a little bit of empathy in that area.
Yeah.
I've been told before by many people around the world that when it comes to preparing for hurricane season and preparing our country, we do a stellar job. We are elite in that area. We've taken care of ourselves, and we've always over-prepared when it comes to hurricane season. What does it look like for you guys when it's time to prepare for obviously your department for EMS?
So for EMS, we have a variety of different roles. So as a part of the emergency response, and the emergency response actually starts with our 911 operators. So our 911 communication staff, then you'll have us as the EMS staff, then you have police, you have fire. A part of that, you'll also have the Cayman Islands Coast Guard and then the Cayman Islands Regiment as well. Mm-hmm. So for the most part, we have a pre, we have a during, and then we have a post event, so to speak. So before the storm or potential impact, this is where we encourage persons to make contact with your general practitioner, with your family physician, just so that you have a plan in place. Mm-hmm. Whether it's, hey, you're a part of the most vulnerable in our community, you're living in a low-lying area, an area that's known to flood pretty quickly, we would have to transport you to a designated area of safety, whether that's to another family member's residence, or we may even have to take you into a shelter itself. So these are some of the activities that we would perform. Additionally to that, some of the most vulnerable are the persons in the community taking dialysis or undergoing dialysis treatment. Yeah. So we would have to prioritize these individuals, and we have to ensure that they get in tow for their dialysis treatment before a storm might happen or a storm impacts the country, just because we don't know potentially how severe this storm might impact the country, right? So we have to make sure that our most vulnerable in the community are taken care of. During the storm itself, when we start to experience tropical storm force winds, the emergency response mechanism, whether it's police, fire, EMS, Coast Guard, or regiment, we are not going to be responding out to the communities. And that's because we have to ensure that we're safe. So we can't be going out there, limbs whizzing by. We're out there, roads are flooded. Roads may even be impassable. We have no idea what's going on. We can't risk ourselves becoming injured, because at the end of the day, if we're injured, who's going to come and help that individual, or who's going to come to help us? Yeah. Right? So we have to be smart with it. We have to ensure that we are safe. And then after a storm, similarly to pre-storm, we might have to transport persons back home. Persons that are at home who might have sheltered at home, we now need to quickly go get them, bring them back into our facility, obviously, so that they can continue or resume their normal dialysis routine, along with some other patients who might be undergoing, as an example, chemotherapy for cancer treatment and stuff like that. So that's just by no means a very small picture of what we would actually do during, and actually post any type of storm event that would maybe impact the island.
Well, you spoke about the limitation, which I was going to ask. So that you jumped right into that, and that's a limitation that, if a storm is going on, we're under the storm right now. It's in effect. I worked for marketing and for Flow, a telecom company, right? And I remember some of the messages that we got when I used to monitor the Facebook and Instagram of people saying my internet is down. And the storm is ongoing. Can you send a technician, right? So I know you guys have seen ridiculous stuff like that, but it's true. What Jay said is true. Who's going to help you when this storm is done? If something happens to me when I go out there. So the limitation is obviously you guys are not coming out. Yeah. Doesn't matter. And I'm going to bring up some points here, guys. If somebody is bleeding out, if somebody is going through probably a heart attack, are you guys saying that during a storm, you cannot? No.
Yeah, we can't. We can't. Unfortunately, those are directives that our senior management, and that senior management literally across the government has agreed on. And again, that's the universal standard. That's the universal norm, that once we start to experience sustained tropical storm force winds, unfortunately, we're not going to go out. So again, this is why we say make contact with your GP, make contact with your family physician. If you have a pre-existing medical condition that even the doctor may say, hey, you know what? I'm okay. However, I would prefer you go to a shelter, or I would prefer you to come into the hospital. Now, granted, that does not happen too often where persons come into the hospital, because we have to ensure that our hospital stays available in the event of multiple persons coming into the facility afterwards, right? So it's not that we're going to have people come in there to shelter. But if your medical condition is that serious and you need to stay pretty much under a doctor's care and attention, then yes, we would have to bring you into the hospital at that point in time. But we will not be responding during sustained tropical storm force winds until the all clear has been given.
So do you guys get annoyed at that misconception in movies when you see emergency medical personnel they're calling out to her?
Yeah. That's kind of annoying.
Because I watch it and I'm like,
it's setting a bad precedent. No. I will say this, right? There are certain emergency services out there that do respond. So let me just say that there are emergency services out there that do respond. However, they have gear and equipment that is designed for that. So they might be in a Bearcat. So that's one of these armored personal carriers that you might see in like military and stuff like that. You have some pretty large metropolitan cities that is what they have in order to be able to respond to the community. Unfortunately, we do not have that because that one piece of equipment costs millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Wow.
And to be honest, how often would we truly use it? Right? So that's something that we have to weigh as well. We have thought about it. At this point in time, it's really not meeting that threshold for us to, go down that route. We have to be good stewards of the public purse, so to speak. But as an example, just so persons will say, well, we see this done in New York. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. We see this done in Miami. Yes, it is. But unfortunately, we're not at that point yet. Yeah. So just for full clarity there.
It's an important information because that is a stressful moment.
Yeah.
There's still people that are living with obviously, I don't know what to refer to it. I call it trauma. Hurricane Ivan.
Yeah.
So when something is happening, they want to know that they're able to reach the emergency services, and this is good points. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. How can they prepare?
So in just piggybacking on your first point there. So if during a storm itself we're not able to go out, however, persons can still call into 911 or 911 dispatches. Your emergency call will be placed into a call queue. And then when the all clear is given, we will respond in order of priority. So it's not that, hey, you're not going to be able to call, you're not going to be able to do anything. No, that's not the case. You can still place your emergency call. We will continue to monitor that. Our 911 emergency dispatches, they call back individuals to see, what is their progression? What is their medical status now? Are they deteriorating more? Do we need to maybe put this person who called in regards to this injury? Do we need to put them at the top of the list because they're not doing so well now? So as the all clear is given, in order of priority, we will start to dispatch ambulances and other emergency vehicles to these calls for service.
Yeah, and just things that you want to keep in mind too, Chase. I see that you guys have this here, but just make sure that obviously things that I never thought about, like just making sure, of course, you have your number visually on your house that you guys can see because debris are flying around. Do you recommend that people go out there and clear those things so that way you're able to find the house because it's going to be a disaster out there, right? So sometimes people are not going to be able to see. But what's their limitation versus what you guys need from them? Because I wouldn't recommend somebody go out there and start clearing their whole stuff.
That's precisely. We wouldn't recommend people to come outside, especially if it's still active, still dangerous. Don't do that. But prior to, you want to have your house numbered. You want to have it clearly visible from as far as possible as you can get it visible.
Yeah.
And then from there you can think about once the all clear is given. Now you can begin thinking, okay, perhaps I should go outside and move if possible. Move what I need to move.
Yeah.
But before any all clear is given, you remain in a safe location, and that's what we're aiming for.
I love it. I love it. And with hurricane season just around the corner, I'm counting down days right now, and it's quite hot out there. So it's reminding us that hurricane season is definitely just around the corner.
Yeah.
Guys, one of my favorite questions to end the show today, which I think I'm going to enjoy more than a lot of the questions I asked today. Like I said, there's a lot of people that has been listening. How can someone join EMS team and support what you guys do on a daily basis?
So before we close the show, Dane, I would just like to say, because this is EMS week, we would just like to say a huge thank you to all the staff members of the Cayman Islands EMS service. And that's just not here in Grand Cayman. That is on Little Cayman and on Cayman Brac as well.
We forgot about those. Yeah.
No. We did not. We did not.
I did.
No, we did not.
The ownership is on me.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we did not. So we just want to say thank you to all staff members. They go above and beyond. And, you're too kind. You're saying that we show a lot of love and a lot of passion. But that is just the department on a whole.
Yeah.
Right? Even here, Little Cayman, Cayman Brac. So there's nothing but love all around. And every single day, staff members come in and they put 1,000,000% forward just to ensure that we have, as I said before, the best possible EMS service within the Caribbean. And we're very humbled by that. If persons want to reach out to us to become an EMT or they're just interested, they can reach out via www.hsa.ky. That is a general email that goes to both our PR team and it also goes to members of our HR department. You simply just document and state, hey, you just want to, you're interested in, you might want to become an EMT. That information is then funneled directly to our manager and myself, as I mentioned before, Mr. Duval and myself. We will then be able to sit down, have a conversation with some individuals to find out exactly, hey, what are you interested in doing? If you are really interested in becoming an EMT or you want to become a paramedic, we will then be able to take you under our wing, nurture you, and then guide you down the correct pathway and the correct steps that you have to take, whether it's you're going to do a course versus do you want to do a degree program as well. Because we do have differences in courses out there, and we'll be able to provide you with a lot of different options for persons.
I love it. Anything that you want to add onto that, Michael?
Yeah, further to what you were saying, this week we're also going to be at Foster's Camana Bay.
Foster's Camana Bay, yeah.
Camana Bay, just will have a little display. We can have a chat with people. We can give a little know-how tips for about kind of questions. Also, on Fridays, there's an open house at HSA in the Hibiscus Room. Come in, meet the team, meet people there, mingle a little bit. Again, ask questions, get some know-how tips. And then further to that, you mentioned people whoever may be interested. If you think you're interested and you're unsure, you can come and have a ride along, speaking through, again, communicating with either Mr. Duval or Mr. Jayse here to say, hey, can I be scheduled to come in? I might be interested. What'll happen in our ride along? You'll be paired with a team, and then you're just there to observe and see what the day-to-day life of an EMS team may be.
Yeah.
And then you'll take on, you have the knowledge that, okay, maybe I don't want to do this, or maybe, I love this. I want to be able to be in this capacity. So
Love it. Jayse, is there openings now?
Openings now?
Yeah. Or is there always openings?
No. It's not endless, and it's sad, right? Because I just want to hire everyone. I just want to hire everyone.
Yeah.
But at this point in time, no. However, I can't say that's not going to be the case 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, right? Yeah. So we did go through a bit of a recruitment drive. The positions that we were looking to fill, we now have persons that have interviewed for those positions. So that's very good for us. We're continually trying to build capacity. However, like I said, please let that not stop anyone.
Yeah.
If you are interested, that email that we said, www.hsa.ky, send through your CV, send through your expression of interest. Let us look at it. Let's sit down with you. Let's have a discussion to see, hey, all right, how can we now incorporate you into the Cayman Islands Emergency Medical Service? Yeah. So even if we have openings or we don't, we still welcome persons to send through those emails just so that we know, right? We don't want to say, oh, we don't have an openings now, and then nobody sends, right?
Exactly.
So we just encourage anyone and everyone, please send. We will sift through all the documentation, and then we will find a way forward, so to speak. Maybe not now, but like I said, maybe we might have an opening 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, maybe 6 months from now. The situation is always dynamic, so things always change.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. We definitely felt like we left with a wealth of knowledge and just how we can properly even help you guys when we are out and about in our daily life. And now, when I see an ambulance pass me by, I have a different perspective, and especially on the whole no siren situation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.